Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Honkai Star Rail video, and today we're going to do a character guide on Seele. Seele is a character, I've had since she originally released. I think she's a character a lot of people will have, who started the game from day one, right? Because she was like the first exclusive banner character, and she's very good, and she's a DPS, right? So if you're unfamiliar with her, she is a quantum hunt character, and I would qualify her as a DPS for sure. She's meant to be like a very speedy character, and essentially her cool mechanic is that if she defeats an enemy, she gets like a free turn. So for those of you that are familiar with like DFFOO, it's kind of like how like lightning would break and then steal a free turn, but then you can't get a free turn when you're on the free turn. Seele works the same way, right? So if she defeats an enemy, she's going to steal a turn, and then this is what's called her enhanced state. She actually gets buff stats while she's in that state. If she defeats another enemy while in the enhanced state, she will not steal another turn. So let's go ahead. In this video, we're going to look at basically what her kit does, and then we're going to look at her relics, and we're going to look at her best light cones, and then we're going to do like a little showcase and talk about maybe how you would team build with her, right? So let's go ahead and look at her basic abilities. So her normal attack does have a little bit added onto it, which is kind of nice. So normally, most characters, their normal attack will just do some damage which scaled on their attack, which she does. But after she uses a basic attack, her next action does get moved forward by 20%. So the nice thing is like you end up on a turn where, you left Seele without a skill point, or a turn where like maybe there's an enemy with low health and you can just tap them. You're going to get a nice little speed boost for using that, right? I think Seele is a character where normal attacking does come into play. And like I said, the time I like to use it the most is if I have an enemy with like a sliver of health that I know she can kill with a normal. The awesome thing to do with Seele is you tap them with a normal and kill them. Not only does she gain a skill point, but then she steals a turn, and then you're going to have a skill point for her enhanced state to hit something else. So very, very good there actually on the normal attack. Her basic skill will increase her speed by 25% for 2 turns, deals quantum damage equal to whatever percentage based on, once again, this is going to be based on traces and her eidolons and all that. By the way, I should say, I got very lucky with Seele. My Seele is actually at E3, so I've pulled 4 copies of Seele. So there are a couple things in her kit that come from eidolons that I'll talk about because you may not have those. And then here she has Dancing Butterfly. So the speed boost that she gets from her skill, it can stack up to 2 times. Now, the stack does come from her eidolons that I have. So if you just have like an E0 Seele, it will not be able to stack up to 2 times. You'll just get that once, okay? Seele's ultimate. She enters her buff state and deals quantum damage equal to 425% of her attack to an enemy. So what's really cool is that on her ultimate, she just gets her buff state, which gives her more stats, and then you're getting like a really high percentage. So it's just a very strong single target attack, right? Her talent is that she enters the buff state upon defeating an enemy, and this is what I talked about. So in her buff state, she gets a free turn, and it works. You get the buff state if you kill them in any way, so it can be from your normal attack, skill, or ultimate, and then she'll get that extra turn. When she's in this buff state, her attack increases by 88% for 1 turn. So basically on the free turn, you get a big attack buff, right? Enemies defeated in the extra turn provided by that will not gain another turn, as I mentioned before, okay? So then some bonus things that she's got. When dealing damage to an enemy whose HP is 80% or lower, she gets 15% crit rate. This is also from eidolons. So the 2 skills, one getting the extra speed buff and then this extra 15%, one comes from E1 and the other one comes from E3. I'll show those, or maybe it's from E2. We'll go through our eidolons so you know where those come from, but you will not, if you have an E0 Seele, you will not get that 15% crit rate. Her Nightshade, when her current HP percentage is 50% or lower, it reduces the chance of her being attacked. I really like that, right? Because these DPS characters, they're typically a little bit squishier. So the idea with Seele is while her health is low or she's in trouble, it's less likely she's targeted, which is really, really good. And then she has Lacerate. When she's in her buff state, her quantum resistance increases by 20%, or her quantum resistance penetration increases by 20%, right? So I think I believe what that is, and somebody can correct me, is her ability to break with quantum, or quantum resistance, or it'll make quantum do more damage to the enemy. So I think that's very good, right? So once again, a couple of things there from eidolons, but not too big of a deal. And then her technique on the map, she does have a very unique map skill where she actually turns invisible and makes you non-detectable by enemies. So this can be useful for one, if you just are doing something on the maps and don't want to fight enemies for whatever reason, you can just skip by them. So that's really nice. And then if you attack while she's invisible, she does do a special attack. And then she enters the battle in her buff state. So she's going to get a really strong first attack right off of the bat, right? All right, so that's basically her skills right there. Next, we're going to go ahead and talk about her light cone. I do have her best light cone, which is the one that they featured on her banner, which is called In the Night, which you can see right here. It increases her crit rate by 18%, which is good. I would say if you don't have her main one, you do want to try to get crit rate. And then you're going to notice based on speed, you get more damage. And so kind of the theme with Seele is speed is like a really big part of her kit, and she's a very speedy character. So a lot of things here will scale off of speed. Now, if we go into light cone here, and let's say I want to switch it, right? There are some other decent options out here. Obviously, any 5-star hunt light cone you have will probably be pretty solid. But there is a really nice free-to-play option, which is this one right here. Let me go to enhance here so it just gets bigger. But this one right here, this one is a light cone that you can get. I believe this is from the Simulated Universe shop. So if you want a 5-star option, I'd say this is actually a really nice one on her. This is actually the one I was using until I got her premium one. And this is another crit rate up, right? And it actually gives her more crit rate, which is really good. So you get 16% crit rate. And then if the enemies are lower than half health, you get another 16% crit rate. So it really helps you finish off the enemies. And then when you defeat an enemy, you get 40% attack up for 2 turns. This fits Seele really well because the idea is you want to defeat enemies with her and get into her buff state. So essentially, this is adding an extra 40% to her enhanced state, which her enhanced state is already giving her an attack buff. So you're just doubling down on that. So I would say if like the thing with Seele that's nice is you just have a really nice budget option in that 5-star light cone, right? 4-star light cones, I think the swordplay one is solid. When you hit the same target, increases your damage. So like you can just stack for attacking the same target. I think this can be solid against like some big bosses. Otherwise, you could do this Don Hung one. It's just like kind of a general attack up, but you do have some crit rate on it. But ideally, you know, you want to get this 5-star one here. I think the free-to-play one, if you don't have Seele's premium one off the banner, right? So that's kind of the basics with the light cones. Let's go ahead and look at relics. So there are definitely a couple ways you can go here. I do think for relics, we'll just go here. Genius of the Brilliant Stars is definitely the way to go. And we'll talk, I'll talk about team building right now because I kind of have it in mind. But team building with a character like Seele, like she fills the DPS role. So you want to make sure you have a sustained character on her team. So preferably a healer of some kind, right? And then Seele works really well with Silverwolf. I think so. If you have Silverwolf, like she's the premium unit to run with Seele, because what this gear does, obviously you're getting the quantum damage boost, which is really nice. But it gives you more defense. It lets your attacks ignore defense, right? And so you get 10% defense ignore, but if the enemies are weak to quantum, you get 20% defense ignore. So Silverwolf is so good with Seele because Silverwolf is quantum, and she's going to put quantum weakness on the enemies, and you can keep your team build kind of limited on typings. Then you can just guarantee your whole team is always hitting weakness damage, right? So I think mono quantum is a pretty popular setup with Silverwolf, and so I'd say if you have Lynx would be the healer you want to run there. So Seele, Lynx, Silverwolf, and then whatever other quantum character, you could do a mono team, or you could throw a second element on there. I think duo teams are really good with Silverwolf as well, right? So when we're looking at Genius of the Brilliant Stars, how do you want to build it? So if we go to the body slot here, I think crit rate is 100% what you want to do. Once again, we talk about with damage dealers, but you want to balance your crit rate and your crit damage appropriately, right? You can't just go all in crit damage on characters. If they only have like 20% crit rate, you're like barely going to see that. So ideally, the sweet spot on crit rate is I like to get to 70%. If I can get to at least 70%, I feel like that's giving me a very decent percentage chance to hit a crit, and then getting as much crit damage as you can. Now, if you're able to get a lot of crit rate on Seele, like maybe you get really lucky in your substats and you get just like a ton of crit rate, you may be able to go crit damage on the body if you feel like you can get sufficient crit rate, right? On the feet, you definitely either want to go attack percentage or speed. Seele's already got a lot of speed built in, but depending on what ornaments you're running, the other relics, you may want to go higher on speed to hit a threshold. We'll talk about that. But I'd say speed or attack percentage is definitely where you want to go there. And then, yeah, let's talk about the ornaments. Now, one more thing I should say is, if for some reason you don't care about that defense ignore part, or you don't have Silver Wolf and you don't know if you're always going to have the quantum weakness, you could just give her a dual set with like an attack up. So like you could do a 2-set Genius of Brilliant Stars and then like a 2-set Musketeer of Wild Wheat, and then you're just going to get like an attack up and a quantum up. Like that's solid if you just want the stats, right? So that is another notable relic set you can go for. Now if we go over here to the Planner Spheres and the Link Ropes, I think there's 2 main sets you can go with. The set I currently have is the Rudolent Arena one, and I've talked about this one before. This is a crit rate one, and this is one that is actually asking you to get to 70% crit rate, but then you get basic and a basic attack and skill damage up 20%. So for this particular build, you want to make sure you build Seele to have a base 15% crit rate, or have a base 70% crit rate, or enough crit rate that like combined with her natural crit rate and then what she gets in her kit. Because notice, for my build with the Eidolons, I can get an extra 15% crit rate in there. So I could maybe get away, you know, going with a 55% base crit rate. But I do think my Seele right now is built with just base 70% crit rate. So then this Planner Sphere works very good, right? And this is a good set because once again, you get more stat for crit rate. You already want to build crit rate anyways, right? So this is a set you could do, or the other set you could do is the newer one. And I'm probably going to build this out for her. I still have to work on it. But this is the new one. This is from stage 8 of Simulated Universe. So this is the Glamis Iron Cavalry Regiment. It's got a long name to it, but this is a speed focused one. And so I do think this is a very good one for Seele. So I do want to build this one and try it out. You do get just a 12% attack up for wearing it. And then if you can get your speed to different thresholds, you get more damage, right? So the goal is you'd want to try to get your speed to 160, which then you might want to go more of a speed build and put more speed into your feet, things like that, depending on where you're trying to get. But you can get an 18% damage increase if you can get to 160 speed. Otherwise, if you get to 135, you get a 12% damage increase. So I think you could definitely go more the crit rate build with the other one, or you could go speed build on this one. I think either could be really, really good sets, right? And then when you're looking at these, you know, obviously on the Planner Sphere here, you want quantum damage, which you can see I've got quantum damage there. And then on your Link Rope, you probably just want either attack. You could go break effect if you want like extra damage on the break effect. Something like that could work. I think energy regen rate can have value on any character. I mean, getting your ultimates up faster is always a good thing. So I think the Link Rope, you have a lot of options, but I just opted to go attack percentage here. Sometimes it'll just be dictated by what you get, right? Okay, so with that, let's go into Eidolons, and you can see here, my Seele here is E3. So on the first Eidolon, that's where I got the extra 15% crit rate. And then the second Eidolon is where I got the speed boost stack up to 2 times. The third Eidolon I got, this is just giving me skill increases, so my skills are going to be higher level, which is very nice. Something that's kind of notable, I mean, only whales are going to have this, but if you get Seele to E6, she actually gets a Butterfly Flurry debuff, which seems like it's going to be kind of crazy. It makes enemies take additional quantum damage. Like, it seems kind of crazy. So eventually someday, maybe I'll get Seele to E6, but it's such a commitment to go in for dupes on these characters, right? All right, so with that, I think I've pretty much covered everything. So let's go ahead and just do a quick little showcase with her. And what we will do as we go through the showcase is we'll talk about some team building a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to hop into a Forgotten Hall stage. And I haven't done any Forgotten Hall this week, so we'll just go into stage 1. But once again, I like this so that we can go in and we can see team setup here. And I'm just going to set this up for the first fight. Now, obviously, the second fight has quantum weakness. That's fine. With my team build, actually, my team build for what I'm going to do here is going to look really good. So once again, if you're team building for Seele, right, she could slot in as your DPS. Then you could do either another DPS or you could do like a Nihility or Harmony character, right? Depending on what you want to do. I'm going to go with another DPS with Jinglu, especially because this enemy has high ice weakness, right? And then I think if you have Silverwolf, she's a must. She's going to be your Nihility slot. She's going to do the debuffing and implant the quantum weakness down. And then you want a healer, so I'm opting to go Lynx. I think any healer in the game, I don't think there's any bad healers in the game, right? So even Natasha, right, who's a fairly, I think everybody gets her for free. As long as you fully build your healer, any healer can be good. But in terms of like having the synergy there with Silverwolf, like limiting the number of elements on my team is actually kind of good. So in this first fight, since the enemy already has ice weakness, which is what Jinglu has, Silverwolf is guaranteed to implant quantum weakness down. We're gonna be good to go, right? Now I will take this kind of seriously because I do want to get credit for doing this fight. So in the second fight, I mean, I wish I could just do Seele again so I could show her to, but let's do some fun fire stuff. Let's do Himiko. We'll do Fire Traveler. We will do Bailu to heal, and I kind of feel like I just need a little bit more damage. I mean, I could take Pela. Sure, let's just, I guess we'll throw down Welt. Sure, we'll just put Welt down. All right, team 2 is going to be kind of wonky, but, or actually, no, what I want to do is I want to do like March. I want preservation there just in case. This shouldn't be too bad, though. It's just stage 1. So let's go ahead and hop in. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to put some stuff on. So we'll go ahead and put healing on. Silverwolf, we can do Jinglu. And then we're going to do Seele. So then Seele here, you can see she goes into stealth mode. The enemy will not see you. They will not chase you. And then when we attack in this mode, we're going to get enhanced states. We're going to attack, deal the quantum damage, and then got them all frozen. And she will be in the enhanced state immediately. So let's go ahead and let's impair weakness down. There we go. Now we have quantum weakness on this enemy. Jinglu, I guess let's go ahead and hit here. And then Jinglu's going to go into Unga Bunga damage mode. Hopefully get an enemy. Oh, shoot. She did too much damage. I wanted to get an enemy weak enough for Seele, right? I will go after the weak enough. Actually, let's do this. Let's hit this. And let's hope that that left enemy doesn't quite die on this. We'll see. They might just die. Jinglu's. I probably should have brought Jinglu. But here, we'll let Seele go. So we'll do her skill here. All right, CC, we did about 30k there. Pretty solid. Oh, and this won't be a two-phase fight, will it? Oh, it is. Okay, perfect. That's what I want to see. All right, so this is good because now we can see Seele kind of go again. I would like to be able to steal turns. This fight just might not be favorable to me. I probably should have just saved that weaker enemy. So let's go here where we've got weakness. Seele here, so we'll just take a normal attack. Now, this is going to give her a 20% speed bump. So she did move up in the turn order there, which was really nice. We'll just go ahead. We're going to conserve skill uses here. Just let everybody kind of go. I'm hoping I can line this up to get one enemy into killing range for Seele. Oh, I think we're going to have it. Okay. So, yes, what we'll do is... Do I need to heal? I don't think I do. So, we'll hit that. I think that enemy on the right, I should be able to kill with Seele. And that way we can see her. Oh, yeah. Let's do this. So, we'll pop her ultimate. This is one of my favorite things to do with Seele, by the way. Off turn, you can hit her ultimate. And then if you get a kill, she's going to jump in and steal a turn. So, it's a great way to, like, off turn, just steal turns. So, we're going to go ahead and swap here and... you know, 60k, killed the enemy. Now she's in enhanced state. This is a free turn. So we're going to do that. And now we got 30k there. And now Seele's getting her natural turn. So she can just spam turns, right? And then had the fight been going longer, Seele would have stolen another turn. So once again, depending on your setups, Seele can steal a lot of turns. She can get some pretty heavy damage. Once again, that was not paired with a Harmony unit. You know, I've had my Seele hitting 60, 70k shots, depending on the situation, the buffs, debuffs, all that. So Seele is a very good DPS damage dealer. And even though she's single target, she actually is good in AoE fights because typically the AoE fights have a lot of smaller enemies. And she can just keep killing and stealing free turns and really take out really good small mobs that way, right? So anyways, guys, let me know what you think of Seele. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.